Hi, I'm Mowl, and welcome to Art This Week. On this week's episode, we visit the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, and I speak with Joris Laarman and Anita Starr, husband and wife team and co-founders of Joris Laarman Lab, about the exhibition Joris Laarman Lab, Design in the Digital Age. Now for Art This Week. Hi, I'm Mowl, and today I'm at the Museum of Fine Arts Houston speaking with Joris Laarman and Anita Starr about the exhibition Joris Laarman Lab, Design in the Digital Age. Thank you both for speaking with me today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is not the first location, but this is the first major this is the first major survey of your work in the United States. How much control did you guys have over curatorial? Or did you collaborate a lot and have a lot of input on that?
Yeah, it was a collaboration with the curators at the museum in Groningen. That was the organizing museum. The curators in Groningen are very much sculpture-minded, so the emphasis is very much on the sculptural quality of the work. But we both personally are very much also into the process of how things are made. So our biggest influence on the show is perhaps the videos that we've installed around the work so that you can actually see how things are made.
I think that that's the thing that I've taken away from this show is the focus on the process and the emphasis on that, like you say, through the videos, which you produce. Yeah. So how important is the process or a display of the process to the image and the idea of Joris Laarman Lab?
Well, I think without the videos, all the pieces would be like difficult to understand.
Yeah.
And it's like this really, as Joris said, it's just like a big part of the whole story we want to tell. We want to show people like future, like new production.
Yeah, it's also a bit about the atmosphere that we have in the workshop. Like if you walk around in the museum, that you have these beautiful objects on a pedestal or on the wall, and but we are very much. I mean, our lives are often just playing in the workshops, and it's rough. It's like a tough environment with robots and machines, and so it's kind of weird for us to walk around in this perfect, place. And the videos they allow people to peek into our way of doing things.
I also think the videos like bring the pieces to life. You understand what it's like, that all the effort that came. Yeah.
Because certainly they're beautiful objects, but so much about your work and the lab's work is about the process, and that's what makes it special. It's what makes it unique. That's what makes it so cutting edge and innovative. I think about, for example, the bridge project you're doing. In a lot of ways, it seems like performance art because the object itself, it could have been done in 1,000 different ways, but you've really kind of set these limits on yourself just to prove you could or just so you could. Tell me about that.
The bridge project was kind of meant to be a poster project, right? It's like this crazy sort of moonshot idea that we wanted to do. And that just triggered a lot of publicity, and because we created a new company around the technology called MX3D, and that needed to have funding and sponsoring and all these things. So the performance side of the project was very important, I guess, for attracting big corporations who wanted to sponsor the project. So, the whole thing is one big puzzle of things that came together.
And one of those things that you're using for that project, these 3D printers that you sort of pioneered or sort of adapted into 3D printers. Can you tell me about those and what types of problems you guys created those to solve?
We started working with robots for different projects. So we've always had a sort of a love and hate relationship with 3D printing. Right? 3D printing is usually used to create these stupid little toys and things that are hardly usable. And we have been looking for ways to use these 3D printers to make proper, useful, functional, large-scale objects. Well, it just was really promising. So robots, in essence, they are like stupid machines that do the same movement over and over again. That's what they're meant for. In the car manufacturing industry, for instance, you'll see them a lot. But with software, you can make them smart in a way, so you can have them do all these really complex movements that are never repetitive. And we just had the idea to connect this welding machine on this robotic arm. And it started with a what if question, you know, what if we did that, and would we be able to make a 3D printer out of that? So it's just it's been a long process of experimentation, starting with, you know, nothing, little stupid blobby metal things.
Blobs.
And then the process is really fascinating. You start with nothing, and then you start tweaking it with the machines, with the software, and with all these, you know, details, doing things that are actually that every expert would say is a very dumb thing to do. But then we anyway tried them, and at a certain moment we created these lines. And I remember very well that with the first really good straight line, we were like, wow, if we can do this, then, you know, we can do anything.
Right.
Because the material is like super strong and durable, and we have control over the process. And we are still working on the control over the process.
Of course.
But we get better and better at it. And it's just a super nice way of working.
I want to change gears a little bit and ask you about some of the chairs in the exhibition, because I think chairs are sometimes, like, in a lot of ways, like a designer's signature, and you have a lot of gorgeous furniture in the exhibition. Can you tell me a bit about the maker chairs, which I find particularly beautiful?
Yeah, I think the idea originated a little bit from thinking about parallels in design history and design future. So I'm always been fascinated by sort of pioneering people. In the case of modernism, you had these early pioneering modern designers like Rietveld in the Netherlands, who started working with standardized parts that could be assembled on an assembly line and machined objects, and he was experimenting with the form languages of industrial machines. And in a very similar way, we are sort of at the dawn of this new digital era with, you know, digital fabrication tools and things like that. And we're investigating the form language for this digital era. And one of the 3D printing and digital fabrication usually it was always hard to make big useful objects. Again, so we had to. I wanted to work with these small, affordable CNC milling machines and 3D printers, and by cutting up all these pieces of furniture in smaller cells that we then can control in software, we were able to make these large, organic-looking objects from like solid wood type of materials, so high-quality stuff. And the nice thing about, I mean, it's called parametric design, right? So as a designer nowadays, you more and more create something like a program instead of a finished design. So with software code, we create an algorithm that represents a design, and it's highly adaptable. So with the pattern for one specific chair, we can also do a table or a piece of architecture or anything. It is so adaptable, and it's and another important aspect of the maker chairs is that we can transport the blueprints so that they can be made anywhere around the world. So they are representing sort of a new way of thinking about design. Where design used to be very complex in the form that, you know, as a designer, you made a sketch, you would go to a brand, and the brand goes to this factory in China, and they have to ship all the materials to that factory, and then the products are shipped back, and a distribution system, retail network, etc. Now you just have your CAD software with which you can make your design, and you can send your blueprints all over the world where they're made locally with local materials. And not, it won't just reduce sort of your footprint, like your carbon footprint, for instance, with shipping all these materials, but it also sort of brings back the making process back into society.
It kind of democratizes the design in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think it's very strange that we don't know anymore where our things are made and who made them. So yeah, I really I hope that's gonna really take off in the future. And of course, it's very speculative right now, but it's a very promising and a beautiful idea, I think, for the future.
I also want to talk a little bit about the bone furniture. I think the bone rocker is maybe one of the things you're best known for, and you have this gorgeous bone chase in the polyurethane. Can you tell me a bit about the technology and the idea behind those pieces?
The bone furniture series started with a documentary that we saw. I mean, Anita and me are both very interested in there's Dutch public television is really good. You have these documentaries about the future and upcoming things in life in general. But and in this case, we saw this documentary about a professor called Klaus Mattek who studied the growth of bones in trees for a very long time, and people from his research group created these algorithms with which you sort of mimic that process. So bones take away all the material that is not needed without your bone losing strength. So we worked with the algorithm to sculpt a series of furniture, and it was a very just nice experimental way of working back then. We had to wait 2 weeks for every iteration that we got back from the...
Probably now it would be take 1 hour or something, or 1 minute.
Yeah, like right now it's just sort of standard software. But back then it was like super experimental.
Yeah. Those were the late 2000s when those were, when you first started that series, in 2006 or something like that. So definitely cutting edge at the time.
Yeah,
It still is, but
it felt really like magical to look at. It's like looking at an evolutionary process. You saw this thing optimizing itself and finding its form, and it's just a sort of looking at Mother Nature, right? Doing her thing.
I think we instantly knew when we saw the results, it opened up a new world of possibilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and a whole new form language. It's so nice. The downside to that algorithm is that it creates a sort of a perfection, which is actually also very boring, because that you can only do that once, right? Yeah. Otherwise, all the chairs would have the same. And again, there are sculptures that tell a story about how our time is evolving with the influence of technology. But a chair, of course, can be done in so many different ways. It is literally like writing a book, right? We don't have only the same books, so they're luckily authors, they create all kinds of ways of looking at things.
I find that really interesting about your work because, like you mentioned, the chair can be done in so many different ways, but if it still has to be a chair, there's sort of this form language to start with, or this reference point, and in that way you're able to see the technology and what the technology can do, because you have an expectation of what a basic chair is, and then you see this thing that's completely different.
Exactly.
And so in some ways it's a better showcase of the use of technology than some abstract or free-form sculpture that doesn't serve a function.
Definitely, yeah, that's why we do these functional objects. The functionals, I mean, a good design to me is a puzzle with like 10 or more ingredients, and they should all sort of fit together like this perfect puzzle. And functionality is just one aspect, and there's like material and the way it's manufactured, the way it's designed, and the way people use it, all these things, they are important.
Well, congratulations on an absolutely gorgeous exhibition. Thank you so much for speaking with me today.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
We want to thank Joris and Anita for speaking with us. For more information on the exhibition, go to mfah.org. That's it for Art This Week. Thanks for watching.
I still got your Polaroid.